The trial of 5 men who are accused in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial are back in court today. This is in the Pretoria High Court. Yesterday, ending on an issue relating to calls that were made to accused number 3's phone, Mtobisi Mncube. Linda Mnisi has been following the story for us and will bring us the very latest on how court concluded yesterday and what's expected from today. Linda, great to have you as always. All right, let's start with how court ended yesterday.
Yeah. So you'll remember yesterday for much of the day, there was cross-examination by the lawyer of accused number 4. And during cross-examination, as he was trying to establish the links between all the accused and his clients, he then touched on the calls that were made in 2014 on the day that Senzo Meyiwa was killed, and the calls were made on the phone or the number allegedly linked to accused number 3, and Gideon Gouws revealing that on that particular phone, on the day, there were about 54 calls that were made, and this is between 7 o'clock in the morning and 8:30 in the evening. 54 calls, and he also giving a breakdown of those calls, saying about 27 were outgoing calls and 24 were incoming calls, and there were about 5 SMSs on that particular day. And what he wanted to know was if any of those calls were made to the number allegedly linked to his client. And he said, well, that number never called his client. It's interesting because previously, if you remember the confession statement of accused number 2, he indicated in that confession statement that there was a call that was also made to Kelly Khumalo prior to them going to the Khumalo home. Of course, accused number 2 disputed that particular, or challenged that particular confession statement, saying it was made under duress. But if you look at the allegations around cell phone records, then you kind of look at that. Although a link, it's important to note, a link has not been drawn between the confession statement itself and the actual call.
There's an interesting dynamic that's emerging, which perhaps we don't talk about as much as the evidence being led or the public frustration with the delays in the trial. And this is the intra-relationships between the accused. Just shed some more light for us on that.
Yeah, and primarily why the state brought these cell phone records is to also prove the relationship between the accused persons. You'll remember there was an issue around the number allegedly linked to accused number 5 having called all the accused. So in this instance, the version of accused number 4 is that he would have made contact with accused number 1, that's Mnisi, because he is his uncle. And then when it comes to accused number 3, although there are no calls that were made on that particular day, he says that he is best friends with him. He says he's best friends with him, and that's, in a way, sort of establishes those particular relationships. He says he's made contact with accused number 5, but not in the number that the state alleges belonged to him. You'll remember there's that whole story about his number being saved in accused number 2's phone as Lungisani. And he says, well, he's not Lungisani, and I wouldn't have made contact with him on that particular phone.
Right, so this tight knot of communication now being unraveled through the details in these cell phone records. What are we expecting today?
So today, we expect that the lawyer for accused number 5 will start with her cross-examination. It's going to be interesting because obviously he was placed right at the center of the communication with all the other accused. There are issues, already questions from other lawyers about whether this number was registered in his name. You'll remember there was also evidence around the number having been linked to some accounts. So all of that will be under scrutiny today.
Linda Mnisi, thank you very much. Still a great deal of public interest on this one, and we'll go to court as it happens.